Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Haley. I recently studied abroad in Italy and now I'm filming a whole series about my experience. So today we're going to talk about my study abroad trip and how I prepared for it, found the trip, and all the things. So stay tuned. Okay, so I found that there was 5 kind of areas that everything fell under when kind of categorizing everything that I wanted to talk about for this video. So the first kind of area is finding my trip. So the first time I ever heard about my trip, it was while I was training to be as orientation assistant for my school, and our education abroad office came and they spoke to us and they talked they came and they spoke to us and they talked about all the multitude of trips that students could do. And they actually mentioned my trip by name and like told us all about that trip. And I was like, that sounds really cool. Like I never gave that a second thought. And it wasn't until I had gotten a second job as a waitress for a family restaurant and I was just pulling in a bunch of money just because. And so I was thinking about all the things that I could buy that it kind of popped back into my mind. And I was like, that would be really something cool. So I kind of looked it up and I was like, that sounds amazing. Like that just sounds like a really great thing to spend my money on. And that's kind of it. So I then had to just go through that process of being admitted to the trip, and it had nothing to do with my degree whatsoever, but I have a general degree, so everything counts. Every class that I take counts towards my degree, which is fantastic because that helped me get a lot of scholarship money in the end. And so I just went through the process. I was pre-approved and then I was approved and it was great. And like the rest is obviously history there, but it was pretty great. And really, like, I wasn't looking for anything to commit to. And like, I looked at it and then I was like, slept on it. And I was like, I need to go because the trip left on my birthday and it was my 21st birthday. It was my golden birthday. I was like, okay, like, this is a sign. And it was. I needed to go on that trip. So I was really happy about that. And then the next, and probably one of the biggest parts of preparing for the trip, is finances. So I was really lucky that I was getting all this money in from tips and everything. So and this second job and everything. So what I did is I just saved all of my cash tips. I just put them in there, and then every check that I got, I actually just used for personal money. But so all of my tips, I just saved every single bit of them. I definitely dipped a lot into those just for like random purchases or, random things like that I just needed a little extra cash for. But I just saved all of my tips. So I had like a really big wad at the end. And it was kind of sad to say goodbye to it. So that really helped pay for all of my program fees. I also had a yard sale, so I got rid of a bunch of stuff in my house and just kind of threw it out here, had a yard sale. And I think I made like $118 from that. So it's not a lot, but it's not a lot in comparison to the total that I needed to get to, but it was a lot in comparison to like zero. So kind of nice. I also sold some of my clothes, so I would sell it to Uptown's Cheapskate or to Plato's Closet, things like that, where they would buy your clothes off of you. So it didn't always work, but every so often they would buy just a few things. I also cleaned my mom and my aunt's house. I house sat and I dog sat for my aunt and her neighbor and other people, and so that helped turn in a little bit of extra cash. And then also, I was really smart. My university job pays my taxes for me, but I can put money into withholdings. And I know you're not supposed to do that because you could take that money and put it in a high interest savings account, but that's not what we're thinking about right now. I was thinking long run, and so I was putting $50 each check into that withholdings. And so at the end, when I did my taxes, I got about $400 out from like when I started to then. So I got about $400 out of that, and I just threw that on. That was also the year that we got, if you filed separately, you get all your COVID pandemic money. So I did that, and that money paid for my flight. So that was really great. So shout out to the government for that one. And that's just kind of the things that I did with my taxes to help me out. So shout out to that one. And then the last big thing for finances and studying abroad is scholarships. So I applied for 3 scholarships and I got all 3. I was very lucky about that. I got the commitment scholarship, which is a scholarship that our Education Abroad office does for the first 8 people that like really go for it and like sign up for your trip, pay your program fee, and request this scholarship and all that things. So it's just like $500 and all those stuff. So it was really great. And like my trip only had 7 people and it went to the first 8. So like everyone in the trip probably could have gotten that money. So I don't know. But that was definitely one that I really appreciated getting. And the second scholarship that I got was the media scholarship. So my media scholarship is this YouTube series. So thank you so much for supplying with me with this. This was just kind of the exchange. Like I submitted a proposal that saying what I would do and the thing that I would post to social media, and that I would get a $500 scholarship if they accepted that. And luckily they did. And I'm really, really fortunate and thankful for this one because 1, it forced me to film all of these amazing memories. And 2, it was just another fantastic scholarship. So I'm really happy about that. The third scholarship that I got was just our blanket Education Abroad office scholarship. And so it goes out by need, and I was really fortunate and I got $1,600 from there. So those are the 3 that I applied for, and that was fantastic. I was so thankful for all of that, and that just made it so much better. And all of that paid for my tuition for my classes. And because I ended up adding a secondary class to be full-time and to just get a couple more credits out of the way. So I added on the history class that was also going with our trip. So that was super nice. And of course they all counted. So I really appreciated that. But it did something even better than that because it qualified me as a full-time student for the summer, because that would be 6 hours. And I was able to get federal scholarships. So my state has the Tennessee Hope Scholarship, and that gave me like another $1,600 that I could use. So I actually ended up at the end, I had already paid all of my program fees and all the other miscellaneous fees. So at the end, when I was getting all this scholarship money, all I had to pay was the tuition for my classes. And I was lucky that my scholarships paid for it, and I still got like $2,000 back. So that was amazing because I really, really appreciated that. And that is just kind of a big thing. So I really wasn't even about to apply for a single one of those scholarships, and I am so glad that my professor really pushed me to do so. But I was so thankful for all of that, and it really, really helped. And that also helped me get spending money because I did not have enough time to save up spending money. So I was really thankful for that. So, but yeah, that's just kind of how I did my finances. So it worked for me, and if I would have thought a little harder, I would have been a little more aggressive with how I saved. But in the end, I had plenty of money and I was perfectly happy with what I got. So I was very thankful for it. The next thing that I did to prepare for my study abroad trip was to learn Italian. So I started learning Italian as soon as I was approved for my trip. I started learning Italian on Duolingo, and I really, really liked that platform. I try to go on there every day. Of course, life happens and that doesn't always happen. So every once in a while, when I find the time, I will pop on there and just do a little Italian lesson. I also took Italian through my university. So I was able to skip the prep course and go straight into like Italian 2. And so that's why there's a little bit of a miss in the vocabulary, but I really know my Italian grammar, so that's good. Glad I know that one. And then of course I was able to practice a little more when I was there, so that's kind of how I learned the language, and I really appreciated learning the language. I think it made my trip so much richer than it would have been if I didn't know Italian. And I really appreciated like the times where I would get to translate, or the times where someone would speak Italian to me and I would understand them. So I think that was just a really heartwarming thing, and like it made me feel really proud of myself because I'd worked so hard for that. So, and then the next area that I kind of prepped for was health. So, you know, doing things like getting my COVID vaccination. So I had to be fully vaccinated. I got fully boosted before I went, just precautionary, you know, getting the right masks, packing sanitizer. I got the emergency daily vitamin things, and I would take those every day so that I wasn't, you know, I would get the extra immunosupport. But just kind of doing things like that, like the hand sanitizer was a big thing, the making sure that you're hand washing, the right masks, all that we had to do. I think it made my trip better because I knew that I wasn't so sick, and like also putting in place like COVID testing and all that. So, and then the last area that everything just kind of falls into is just a miscellaneous area. So this looked like going to the study abroad meetings and hearing about, you know, what we should pack, what we should consider. Here's a suggestion for like the type of water bottle to use, or, you know, maybe get those wine sleeves because probably you're going to want to take wine home. So conversations like that, converters, all of that was discussed then. And safety, of course, things like that. I also, just to help me prepare a little bit, I watched a lot of YouTube videos. One, because I'm doing this series, and then two, because I feel like that's the natural response. So definitely nice. And then of course I got my passport. I was lucky my school has passport services in one of the university buildings, so I got it at a discount rate, and I actually got it faster than if I would have just gone and done it on my own liberty. So I really appreciated my school having that. So yeah, that's all the things that I did to start studying abroad and prepping for study abroad. So I hope that helped you guys kind of figure out how you need to prep, or, you know, things that you forgot that you definitely need, or anything like that. So comment down below if there's any areas that you wish you would have prepped a little more in. I'm sure everyone would appreciate that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is officially the last video of the study abroad vlogs. So I hope you have a great study abroad, and see you guys later.